So the strategies have been modified a bit from Obama through Trump to Biden. But to be aware that I have this memory. I had a professor of U.S. diplomatic history who taught us about, among other things, the 1890s and the vision of some of the early U.S. imperialists, basically to conquer a portion of the Chinese market in order to gain what they call the holy grail of capitalism, access to the China market. And this has been a constant now for well over a century. With the rise of China's economic, military, and technological power, the fact that East Asia is really the engine, the greatest force in the global economy, and the size of its population, the Obama administration did make a major change in U.S. policies. And in part, this is also due to things like fracking of oil and the reduction of the Middle East centrality to U.S. power. That came with the so-called pivot to Asia and the Pacific. And it's worth noting that the principal author of that policy change, Kurt Campbell, is now the leading Asia figure in the Biden National Security Council. So you have tremendous continuity between Obama and Biden. And actually, Campbell wrote a book back in 2016 in which he basically outlined the need to consolidate U.S. power, U.S. alliances, augment U.S. military power in Asia and the Pacific in order to reinforce the U.S. control and dominance there and to contain China. The primary difference between Trump and Biden was Trump's idea of America first, a kind of unilateralism, which was a little bit counterproductive in terms of augmenting U.S. imperial domination of the Asia Pacific or Indo-Pacific region. So he alienated the alliances, including with Japan, in that period. And what we have now with Biden is every effort possible to reinforce those alliances and to participate in the regional forums like ASEAN, APEC, and so on, and as Campbell had advised, increasing of the U.S. military presence and power there. We've had an increase in the number of so-called freedom of navigation operations in the South China West Philippine Sea. We have had the U.S. Commitment to back Japan in the struggle over the Senkaku Diaoyu Islands. And we're seeing U.S. and Japanese collaboration in relationship to Taiwan. So it's an interesting and challenging time. So we have a minority of progressives, certainly in the Senate with Bernie Sanders. It's possible we can move Markey along. Markey is the head of the East Asia desk in the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. And actually, several of us have a meeting scheduled with one of his aides next week. In the House, you have the small circle of progressives around AOC, Presley, Ilhan Omar, and others. But I think I don't know for sure that we can impact them. But there's Congressman Ted Lieu and Ro Khanna, who've been at the progressive edge of Democrats in the House. And it's a question of pressing them as we can. We have the unhappy situation of the Senate just having passed a massive, hundreds of billions of dollars bill, ostensibly for infrastructure, and particularly technological investment to compete with China. But it was packed with all kinds of anti-Chinese rhetoric, increased militarism, and so on. That bill, a version of that bill, is now in the House. It's not nearly as bad as what we had in the Senate, and it's called the Eagle Bill at this point. And that's certainly an area where we'll be fighting to impact that legislation. And I think within that debate, we may be able to raise the situation in Okinawa and call for withdrawal of bases.